Secret texts, twisted views. Time to separate lies from truth. Not here to burn, but here to see what survives when the mind breaks free. Deconstruct, analyze, open hearts, open eyes. If it falls, let it be. What remains is meant to be. Cyber deconstruction, let's get real. Faith when challenge starts to peel. If it's built on solid ground, why is it scared to stick around? Not for hate, but for the wise. Truth won't shatter, only lies. Time to start the conversation. Now ain't the time to pretend nothing happened.
Help if I turned my mic on. Welcome in, everybody. How is everybody doing this fine morning? Like WWE walk-up music? Absolutely. I did sleep. I got some amazing sleep. So I'm less than 50 followers away, less than 50 subscribers away from hitting my 1,000 mark. So if you're not following me on YouTube, go give me a follow on YouTube. I would absolutely love to be able to hit that mark. Have that 1,000. How you doing, Emily? How are you doing? So while we are here, I'm only going to be live for about 2 to 2.5 hours. But hopefully we can definitely knock out, my final watch hours needed on YouTube. So we are streaming on YouTube as well. And so, yeah, only, but no, you're good, Hanji, you're good. Let me get this hopefully this goal thing on TikTok for me fixed. It's been doing this weird thing where it wants me to like maybe nope, still oh well. So yeah, if you can, while you're coming in, let's go ahead and tap that little heart next to my name. Let's get those going out. Let's tap my nose. Just push the nose, hold it. Another screen will pop up and just go down the list, sharing this out. Over on YouTube, if you can go ahead and hit the little subscribe button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, I have posted a new video on TikTok. It was from the other night. Some of you may have already seen it. It was a flat earther who had the weirdest thing. He's a flat earther, but he believes in aliens. So that was new. How you doing, Ethereal Embers? But I did get that posted over on YouTube as well. So go ahead and go check that out. And let's do some shout outs here. Arizona Mike is here. Hanji's here. Ethereal Embers is here. Addie's here. Double Donkey Jesus. Atheistocles is here. Mateo Potato is here. And Emily was here. I don't know if Emily is still here, but Emily was here. But yeah, so I'm a firm believer. Christianity is false. If you disagree, hop in a box. I would love to chat with you. If you are over on the YouTubes, go ahead and type in that link that I have up there in the yellow. It's tinyurl.com/cyber dash or dash guest. Give that a click. We can bring you up over onto Video Ninja, and I would love to chat with you about this and have a discussion about it. So we'll see if we get any guests. There's some other awesome creators that are live right now. So we'll see if we get some people coming up. So far though, it doesn't seem to have. We got 19 people over on YouTube watching. We've got 13 on TikTok. So far nobody talking in chat over on YouTube though. Interesting. And right before this live, I was over on Knight's live, absolutely bodying some Christians. Also had a born again atheist was up on panel. I've never been on a panel with her before. All right, we're going to bring up the first user. Hello, can I get your age? Oh, are you? And they dropped.
Run.
Yes, absolutely. Praise Doug, the Mineral Messiah. And while we're at it with praising Doug, make sure we praise Rocky. This is Rocky. This is the rock that Doug threw. This is the child of Doug and Sharon Stone. For those who don't know, anytime Justin brings up Rocky, this is Rocky right here. This is the official Rocky. And yes, Arizona Mike still believes in Joe Hendry. Rocky the Messiah. We've got Abwave. I agree with you. You know what, Abwave? I agree with you as well. And if you like debates, go ahead and hit a subscription. I would love to have your subscription. I'm only like 40 away from hitting my 1,000 over on YouTube. So let's go ahead and do that. And yeah, if you're in the box, whether you are here on TikTok or over on YouTube, I would love to chat with you over on YouTube. You will need to click the link that's just right here. Type in this link right here, tinyurl.com/cyber-guest, and I would love to have a chat with you. I'll bring you up on Video Ninja, and let's see if we can get Hanji up here.
I have arrived.
Can I get your age for YouTube purpose? I'm kidding.
You never ask a woman her age. Gonna be the lucky 33 this year. There you go.
Wait, you're a woman? I thought you were just a goddess.
Well, you know, sometimes I have to come down and see that you mortals still are on your shit.
All right.
Well, can we have your age for TikTok TOS, please?
24.
All right. And are you a Christian?
Yeah, though I'm mostly here. Mario said that Christianity should not be openly, legally practiced in China. What do you think of that?
Wait, who said that?
Mateo. They said Palestinian churches should be destroyed and that Christianity shouldn't be legal in China. And I want to know what you thought of that.
About churches being practiced in China?
They said that churches in China should be illegal and that Palestinian churches should be destroyed by the Israeli military.
Oh, well, I'm not here to discuss that. I'm here to discuss whether or not Christianity is true or false. So that's a debate you can have with Mateo if you'd like.
What do you think of that?
Oh, that's
just
not what
those
the
positions?
topic is.
I think
Oh, yeah,
what
we're
he
just going to
said- all
stick
he
to the
said was
topic.
No.
So what
I'm
I've
just
done is
asking what
I've
your
drawn
position is
a
on
I've
it.
drawn a I've drawn a boundary, and so we're just going to move on and we're going to talk about why Christianity is false. So are you up here to talk about the topic or no?
I mean, I thought this was more interesting. If you support Netanyahu, that's on you.
I don't support Ben. I don't. No, I'm not a Zionist in that sense. I don't support him. I am a firm believer that what
you don't
is
have to be a
going
Zion-
on.
You don't supporting Netanyahu doesn't make you a Zionist. You can be a Zionist without supporting Netanyahu.
Yeah. So what's going on over in Gaza? I don't support.
So you disagree with Mateo that Palestinian Christians should be driven out of Israel?
I don't know where he's
Yeah, I
getting
can
this word.
agree with that, but
because-
that's not what the topic is. And why are you assuming all Jews are a monolith?
I didn't. I would just because he's a mod of yours, and I asked what Mateo said.
Yeah,
Palestinian or
I
Christian Arabs
I
should be
have
driven out of
mods.
Israel.
Yeah, I don't expect my mods and I to share views or stances on every single thing. That's ridiculous.
I was just asking what your position was. I didn't assume you'd agree. I just asked your position. on it.
Yeah. So the question is though, Christianity is false. Are you able to prove me wrong?
No, I just think they should be allowed to practice in Israel and China.
Yeah, that's not
all
the
I was
topic. The
saying.
topic is Christianity is false. Can you prove me wrong? Do you
Sure,
have an
sure. And I was
argument?
just asking your position on that.
Yeah, we'll just boot you
Okay,
then.
we see the boundary, and you're still not understanding it.
Like to
And
be
Mateo,
clear,
stop fucking with them like that.
Bibby is the way, the truth, and the.
You
Oh
know.
man. And to be clear, yeah, and I'll be clear because there are new people here. We have people on YouTube that probably haven't heard my stance. So I'm a firm believer that Israel does have a right to exist. It's the ancestral home of the Jewish people. However, that doesn't mean that you have a right to remove people from their lands. That doesn't mean that you have a right to go G-side other people. Israel also has a right to defend itself, to get its hostages back. However, likewise, again, Israel has the power, the military might. What Israel is doing over in Gaza is a G-side, and the Israeli government needs to be held responsible for that. I believe there are other means that Israel can take in order to get their hostages back that doesn't result in the unaliving of innocent women, children, and men. So that's my stance on that. Yeah, right, Mateo. They don't have an understanding of satire. But yeah, so if you disagree though, hop in the box. Let's talk about it. We have some people now some people over on YouTube are starting to yap away. Hop in the box, people on YouTube. There is a link right above my hat. Click the link in my hat. I would love to have you come up. I'd love to chat with you. I would love to hear your arguments for why Christianity is true. Mina Rini, is it Rini? Hillbilly Deluxe Renee. Okay, Ren I. So whenever I see AYE, I always think I, because that's like how I like I. It's like how that's spelled. So yeah, Hillbilly Deluxe Dancing. Come on up. Let's talk. Sounds like you're a Christian. Oh, did they run? They jumped out of here. They probably saw that I was. Okay, Ren A. Okay, that makes sense. Man, that Hillbilly Deluxe Dancing, as soon as I'm like, I'm going to bring you up, as soon as he got an inkling, he jumped right on out of here. He said, nope, I don't want none of that. Sawyer, go ahead and hit the link up here. I would love to chat with you. We can even talk about, a big part of this is talking about messianic prophecies. Turns out that Jesus did not fulfill a single messianic prophecy. And I'd love for you guys to hop on up and hop on up here. Try penting first, then repent. So true, so true. Yeah, Sawyer, have you ever tried to pent first? I'm going to need to remember that. You got to pent first, and then you can do the repent afterwards. Nisi, I think Blake is probably still asleep today, but I need to remember tonight to give mods over on YouTube the ability to pin things. And make sure you're giving Hanji a follow as well. Give Hanji a follow. If you do want to support us, you can also over on YouTube. You can also support us via Venmo and Cash App. All Venmos and Cash Apps do get read in between guests. And if you are deconstructing, in my link tree on YouTube and over on TikTok and over on YouTube, it's in the description. Join our deconstruction server. It's a Deconstruction Junction. There's a lot of amazing live creators. In fact, one of them has blessed us here. Tiny Science in chat. Well, in chat. Tiny Science in chat hosts some amazing lives. Give Tiny Science a follow. And there's some amazing other creators that you can follow as well. And if you haven't had your emo juice, go get some. So, how's your day been, Hanji?
It's been going. It's been hot, but it's been going.
Nice. Jaren didn't go live today, did he?
No.
Well, that is unfortunate.
I
Let's
think
see
he's
here.
a sweetie baby. But I did invite him over here, though.
Maybe we just need to blow up his phone.
I could do that.
Just nonstop. Get your ass cheeks over here.
Give me 5 seconds, I'll do it.
Oh, Jordan Bird asking for money while supporting Satan. In order to support Satan, I'd have to believe in Satan. All right, we're gonna bring up our first guest. Hello, can I get your age?
Yeah, sure. I'm 26.
All right, are you a Christian?
No.
Are you Muslim?
Yep.
All right. Do you hold to the hadiths?
Yep. But can I add something?
Sure.
I'm just here to say to you, yep, you are right. Christianity is false. That's it.
Absolutely. But question I have for you
with you.
is, huh?
I don't follow paganism. Roman paganism is not good.
Absolutely, I agree. Based.
Yep.
But I have a quick question for you. I gotta get something brought up real fast. Thought I had Discord opened up on my computer, and turns out I did not.
Yeah, it's hard to look for the PDF file.
Yeah, that's what I was
Is it
actually
about
gonna.
the hadith, huh?
Yeah, that's actually what I was gonna talk
Yeah.
about.
What
is
else? Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
Your
Well,
guest is
that
so
wasn't
sincere.
actually what I was looking for. The specific thing I was looking for are the surahs that say that we should emulate Muhammad. I tried to be respectful in this case. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
What did you say?
I said the Prophet
Oh,
Muhammad,
Praise
taking it.
Muhammad.
police,
Police
yeah,
be
police
upon
be
him. Yeah.
upon him. Yeah,
Ah, okay. You guys are so funny, huh?
I
I
thought
think
so.
I'm.
I
I thought you guys,
Thank you.
wait,
you
isn't that what
guys
you guys say? Police
about
be upon him?
being nice.
I think so.
But isn't that what said? Police be upon him. Oh, peace, peace. I was wrong. It's
Peace, yeah.
peace,
It's
peace,
okay.
not
Maybe go to
police.
school again. He's
I
helping
think you
you.
should say police though. But if
Yep.
you believe that you should, if you believe that you should emulate Muhammad, do you also support that it is perfectly okay to marry a 6-year-old and consummate the marriage at 9 years old?
Is it okay? You said?
Yeah, is it okay? Well, ought you do it? If you're to emulate Muhammad, ought you then also be okay with 6-year-old girls getting married and having the marriage consummated at 9?
Ask him. I don't know.
Well,
But what we can do is we go to churches and ask the preachers, for example, why they marry or why they fuck any young girls. That we can do. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
and I would
Go
also
to
ask
churches,
you.
ask them.
Yeah, Hanji, we're gonna go to Muslim oh crap, the Muslim
Yeah,
churches, the name slips my mind.
yeah.
But we're gonna
Think
go and we're
about
gonna
that.
talk to imams, and we are going to ask them why their prophet was okay with sleeping with a 9-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an answer for that?
I told you, ask him.
Well, I'm asking you. You're here. You're a Muslim. You practice Islam.
And
I was
should
just
I be
curious.
all known?
All right, we're gonna go ahead and bring up the next guest.
Search 250 years
can I
ago
get your
the
age?
legal marriage.
Hold on, can I get your age?
27, bro. 27.
All right. And are you Christian?
Muslim, brother. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, okay. And do you hold to the hadiths?
Brother, hadith this, but search up, do me a favor before we keep getting into this debate. Go to Google and search up legal age consent for marriage in Texas 250 years ago. Just type that in.
Oh yeah, I think that was wrong as well. I think that the government that had that law was disgusting, and
Buddy,
they never
that's
should have had that.
Christianity, that was a Christian government. Christianity government ruled. Texas as well.
Yeah, and
so.
I think they were monsters
you're
for passing
speaking-
that. So I don't know why you think you're eating here, because you're not. I'm not Christian. I
I'm not thinking you're eating.
have monster cans with the head of Jesus on it, for crying out loud, right? So you're
sorry,
barking up
please.
the wrong tree here. So you're barking up the wrong
Okay.
tree here. I don't know why you thought you'd come up here, and I don't know why you thought that absolutely eat here, because I think those
I'm not
guys were
gonna
disgusting
say
as well.
I'm literally not even eating anything. I'm just saying, if 250 years ago that was the legal age consent, 250 years ago, not 1400 years ago, there was different things and different ways of things happening at that time. You can't tell me that wasn't true and that wasn't acceptable. It was a social norm back in the day. Just like
So
how
wait,
it was a
are
social
you
norm
are
in
you
Texas
gonna?
250
Do you think you
years
should emulate Muhammad and be okay with
ago. Peace and blessings be
with
upon him.
marrying a 6-year-old and consummating the marriage at 9? Are you okay
You're
with that?
You're relating 1400 years ago to a common day now.
Yeah,
ruling-
and
rulings now.
you're apologizing.
think-
you're apologizing
apologizing.
for a P3DO.
1400 years ago is something different, and they never had any type of like whatever you're thinking in your mind. It was a command.
In the first place. When you think of Aisha, radiyallahu anha, long story short, she's the mother of the ummah. She was the one that collected all these stories. If she wasn't around at that time and wasn't given this, if Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wasn't given this command by God to actually take her in and be a caretaker for her, aka marriage. That's what marriage is at the end of the day.
Oh, he consummated it though. He didn't just marry her. He
I don't-
consummated it. He
don't
slept with
know
her
which-
at 9 years old. In fact,
Okay,
doesn't he also
Your
teach
opinion,
in
brother.
Bukhari? Does he also teach in Bukhari that the younger the woman, the better? Does he not also teach that they need to go find virgins? Does he not teach
You know
this?
what's crazy? Yo, you're not even Muslim, and I'm Muslim, and I've never heard these things you've ever like
Oh
the
yeah,
things
yeah.
you're
We'll,
talking
we'll
out of your mouth. I've never
yeah
heard
we'll,
these in
we'll,
my life,
we'll,
and
we'll
I'm
go bring him
27
up.
years, alhamdulillah, Muslim, brother. Yeah, you could bring up some fake documents. I'm just letting you know. You're comparing something from
No, I'm
1400
going to bring it
years
up
ago to
from.
now.
It's going to be
That's
from
your only
Bukhari.
argument. And
It's going to be from
They
Bukhari.
used to tell you. They used to tell you if you steal some things, you can cut off his hands. Can you do that in modern day ruling now? Can you do that in the modern day world now? No, you can't. It was things were
Oh,
different.
so
back then.
does
Maturity was
does
much more
hold on?
People didn't live till
Does God's law change when if God commands these? Does God's law change?
people didn't even live till 30 back in the day. Okay,
That's not true.
And during Adam's time, they probably lived till like 900 back in the day. So there's so much things we don't know that you're.
So yeah, you're gish galloping and you're crashing out already. So the question
I'm
is,
crashing out.
the
You're the one that has
question
monsters
is,
on your background. I'm crashing out.
I
And
do
you're-
have
and you're-
I do have monsters on
Yeah.
my background.
with a cowboy hat. Are you a cowboy?
Yeah, I actually grew
Uh-huh.
up on a ranch.
Bro, nobody cares, to be honest. No,
Well, you
like,
asked.
seriously, nobody
Well,
cares.
apparently you did. You asked, so you
I
cared.
asked you if you're a cowboy. I don't think you
You-
could even
you cared
ride a
enough
horse
to ask.
for the life of you. I really don't even think you could ride a horse for the life of
I
you.
used to rodeo. Fun fact. I used to do roping. I never rode bulls, but I used to
Wow.
rope. Fun fact.
Wow.
If you didn't know
You
that.
look like a fucking wimp. You look like a wimp, Mr. Monster Guy.
Yep. And you have a pedophile for a prophet. Police be upon him.
Yeah. Keep talking ish. You little black
I-
spacers too. You think you're cool? Rodeo my ass, bro. Look at the way you look. Have you seen yourself in the mirror?
All you
It's
got
not
are ad
about
hominems and
calling-
insults.
Have
This
you
is what
seen yourself
happens
in
when
the
they don't
mirror,
have
man?
arguments.
Don't take one person and represent the whole ummah, buddy. I'm 27. I live in Canada, my boy. You could come see me at my gym and we could duke it out.
Look
Don't
at
just-
him
don't-
go.
don't
Look
just-
at the
Don't
cross.
just think
Look at
that
the-
one person.
look at the
representing
crash
ummah,
out.
my brother.
Not surprised.
I'm the crash out. Come on, I'm not no.
Oh,
crash out.
absolutely.
You guys are jokes, bro. That's your only argument as Aisha. 1400
You're
years
the
ago.
joke for following a pedophile for a prophet.
Why is this woman talking to me, sister? Please stop talking to me.
I'm not your sister. Let's get that clear.
Okay.
Oh, and
Stranger
that's
danger.
that's how we get a drop
Pedophile
there.
lover.
And if we could go ahead and give him a mute as well.
Yep.
Brodo Swaggins,
you're the
how
soft
are you
one.
doing?
You're the soft one they love because you're over here having a crash out because we called out your prophet for what he was. Police be upon him. I'm pretty sure you think that it is perfectly okay to marry a 6-year-old because your hadith says so. And threatening acts of violence because you were in your tiny pee-pee feelings? Yeah. Who's the soft one now?
As a matter of fact, this is coming from Bukhari. It is 6946, book 89, and we'll get this brought up on screen. And I think this is going to tell us all we need to know. So he did state he does accept Bukhari, because Bukhari is where we actually get Aisha's age of being 6 at marriage, 9 at the consummation. And what we will read here, let me make this bigger. So this is Aisha's own words. And it says, I asked the Prophet, O Allah Messenger, should a woman be asked for their consent to their marriage? He said, yes. I said, a virgin, if asked. Let me get this up so I can read this a little bit better. Yes, and he said yes. I said a virgin, if asked, feels shy and keeps quiet. He said silence means her consent. Hanji, does silence ever mean consent?
Absolutely not.
Silence never means consent. Never, ever means consent. Silence means fuck no, stay away.
Unless they verbally say, I consent, it is not consent.
Mm-hmm. So absolutely, absolutely, and that does come from Bukhari. So it is the same hadith that states how old Aisha was. It's the exact same um, hadith.
Yep, yep, yep.
Hey, sweet pea, how are you doing? Let's see here. I'm gonna update my mods. And Hanji Sweet Pea says, "Hello, beautiful sister wife."
Hello, my sister wifey. Mwah! So beautiful.
And absolutely morphine zombie. If it is not enthusiastic, it is not consent. Mike, if you hop on over to YouTube and leave a comment, I will definitely mod you. And Deborah Grace is saying hello from her work desk. And let's say hello. Let's all say hello, Deborah Grace's work desk. So yeah, and Christians, if you do want to have a debate and you're over on YouTube, go ahead and copy that link up above. It's also found in the description. Go give that a follow. Add it into your browser. Hop into Video Ninja, and we'll definitely talk. We'll definitely have a debate about it, and just curious as to why you think that Christianity is true. I'd love to hear your argument for it. I don't think you're going to convince anybody. I don't think any Christians have been able to provide any good arguments, but I'd love to hear your argument. I am not. Neither one of us have ever been Christian. I grew up practicing Orthodox Judaism. And absolutely, again, for the people in the back, if it's not enthusiastic, it's not consent. 100%. Yes, Dyslexia Jones. It is the Prophet Muhammad. Police be upon him. Celine is gonna cook all of us.
Yes, I'm here to cook you today.
So I haven't been able to get around this syllogism that Celine posed to me for the existence of Doug the Rock God. And it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Celine, anything that begins was created. If it was created, there was a creator. God is a creator, or is by nature. Doug is the God. Doug is God.
Correct, absolutely.
So, Hanji, I don't have a syllogism, or I don't have a defeater for that. Do you have a defeater for Doug the Rock God?
He's a rock. I can punt him into the Nile. Therefore, I have the power. Call me She-Man.
Joke's on you, he prefers to swim.
But can he float?
No, he swims. He rolls around the bottom. It's how he travels the world. He rides the currents.
I want my current rhythm. Anyway, be sure to tap the screen, share out the live, and be sure to also send out heart me's to host. Gifting and tapping also pushes hosts into the algorithm. We appreciate all of you guys being here. And let's see if we can actually get some real conversations going and not men in their feelings.
Yes. Why is it always the Muslim men and Celine, I've never been Muslim, but you used to be. Why is it that it always seems like with Muslim men, when they feel like they can't go anywhere, he knows he can't contend with the hadith that he believes in, that they always go to wanting to fight you?
Well, I mean, like, if you look at the religion itself, it's just kind of like the type of people who are going to be attracted to that religion are just going to be people who think might makes right, because that's like essentially like, what the foundation of the religion is. As long as you have like the bigger army, the bigger muscles, you can just treat everyone around you like trash. That's why, like, even though like I debate religion a lot on this app, I mostly don't debate like Muslims anymore, because when I used to exclusively debate them, it wouldn't really go anywhere. It would just go to like them trying to defend like child marriage and things like that. So I I still debate them if, like, for example, if I'm like on Knight's panel or I'm on your panel or anyone else's panel and one of them comes up. But I usually try to like keep it like polite and everything. But that's just how it is with them. I mean, it's when you look at, you know, what the religion says, it's all about like forcing it on other people through violence. Like that's all it is, so
Yeah.
I mean, I
Uh,
think they know that they can't like, win an argument like intellectually. I mean, because the entire book is nonsense, so they just have to use force. That's essentially all they can do.
it is, yeah. So the Quran itself has a few contradictions. Um, it makes a claim that like the universe was created in 6 days, but then there's another verse where it states that it was created in 8 days. So like you have that. It makes a claim that like man, like all of mankind, like Adam and Eve, was created. One says from dust, from clay made from mud. And those ones there, they can usually apologize. They'll say, well, you need dust in order to create the mud for the clay. But it also states that man was created from a sperm drop, right? And it's not talking about like babies, it's talking about like mankind, like Adam. So like the Quran is just full of contradictions. Um, and the issue that we run into, because Addie did bring up, read chapter 2 verse 190. That's why they want to fight. Um, and the issue that we run into with the hadiths are you need to lock them in into which hadiths they do, because there's a bunch of hadiths, but a lot of them aren't acknowledged. But Bukhari is one of the hadiths that is acknowledged, and it apparently has Ayesha's own writings in it. So when I was reading that thing about consent and silence is consent, that is Ayesha's own statement. Ayesha also makes claims because they'll say, "Oh, you're taught to not be violent." We have Ayesha's writing saying that Muhammad hit her. Like, um,
Yeah, it is quite disgusting. And one thing that they'll try to do to you, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, Cyber. Probably it has if you've debated a lot of Muslims. They'll always bring up the, oh, but you don't speak Arabic argument, and then they'll try to be like, oh, yeah, that's not what the word means in Arabic or something like that.
yep,
And to someone who's not very knowledgeable, that's going to be like, oh, fair. It might mean something else, but for someone like me who actually knows what it says and actually has friends who speak Arabic as well, you can also know that they're pretty much lying to you. Thank you, Addie. But they will straight up lie to you. Like when I showed them that same hadith that you're talking about Muhammad hitting Aisha, they said, "Oh, it means that he lightly poked her in the chest, and the
mm-hmm.
pain is coming from the words he said." Not because he actually like physically hurt her. And I'm just like, bro, do you think I was born yesterday? Like, they always try to use the, oh, but you don't speak Arabic argument. And one thing that I like to bring up whenever they do this is that I like to go, well, you probably don't speak Greek or Hebrew, and yet you criticize the Bible, and that's the languages that book was written in, so.
Yep. Yeah, or you'll find out that they themselves don't speak Arabic either. Ems runs into that a lot. But hey, I do have a guest over on Video Ninja, so let's get to them real quick. Andrew, are you there? All right. So, Celine and Hanji, you will not be able to hear the guest, but TikTok, can we get ones in the chat if you can hear the guest? Can you go ahead and say like a sentence or two?
Hello, hello. I'm Andrew. I talked to you a couple days ago. I just thought I'd hop back in if that's okay.
Yep, not a problem. So yeah, Christianity is false. It looks like you can be heard. So yeah, what's your strongest argument for Christianity being true?
Uh,
I think the strongest argument is we can either talk about the historicity of Jesus. I'm also a mythicist, so I'll leave it up to you. We could talk about the historicity of Jesus because I don't believe he existed as a person, or we can also discuss the fact that he didn't fulfill a single messianic prophecy, which is a problem because if he didn't fulfill the prophecies, he's not the Messiah. Thus, everything he did would be futile then. So I'll leave it up to you. Which direction would you want to go? Um, oh yeah. So I can name 40 scholars who are also mythicists, um, who agree with me.
okay.
Um, so I'm sorry, I'm resetting a gift goal real quick, so I gotta wait for it to go on set. TikTok live studio has
Yeah.
done this weird thing where it does that. So yeah, let me. So yeah, the historians that don't keep in mind, these are all scholars. They all work in academia. They're all PhDs. And so we will start off with and keep in mind, so I'm not going to say doctor in front of all these, but they all have doctor in front of their names. We have Thomas Brody, Richard Carrier, Raphael Landstedt, Robert M.
Okay.
Price, Thomas Thompson, Philip Davies, Hector Avalos, Arthur Droge, Carl Ruck, David Madison, J. Harold Ellens, Nicholas Peter Allen, Rodney Blackhurst, Derek Murphy, Miriam Hiller, Christoph Botch, Charlotte Tuati, Tote, Herman Dedding, Zebra Cook, Kurt Knoll, Emmanuel Foe, James Crossley, and that's only 22 of them. I can keep going on. We can go on for quite a bit more. So these are all individuals that don't believe that the historic Jesus existed. They're all mythicists. And I would say that whenever we take a look at history, at the historical documents of Jesus, we'll either find that they're actually not talking about Jesus himself, or they've been what's called an interpolation.
Okay. So I would say that the vast majority of historians, again, agree. I know you've named some. I think the mythicist position is sort of a fringe theory that has really little support among the
It
vast
doesn't. It has quite a
majority.
bit. Let me
Okay,
ask
so
you.
what?
Let me ask you.
Yeah,
Well, let me
sure.
ask you a quick question. Because
hmm
you're appealing to authority, so let me ask you a question. Do you believe in evolution?
I believe in adaptation. I don't. You'd have to further define what you mean by
Yeah. Do you
evolution.
believe in the evolution as defined through abiogenesis?
I'm not a scientist, so are you meaning that human beings eventually evolved from other organisms?
Yeah, from like a single-celled organism into what we are today.
No, I do not. No, I
Right.
believe
But the
we were
vast
created.
vast majority. In fact, I don't think you're going to be able to find me a single biologist who doesn't take abiogenesis seriously, right? So the issue that we're running into here is, um, if you're going to hold me to a standard, you got to hold yourself to the same standard when it comes to another topic, right?
Well, I would challenge your assumption that there are no biologists that disagree with that. I would think there are many biologists that would disagree with that.
Well, I said they take it seriously, but could you name some biologists who don't believe in abiogenesis or don't take it at least seriously as being plausible?
No, I can't name any.
Mhm.
I would say that there are, I'm assuming there are many biologists that have a Christian worldview, so I would assume that any of them would not necessarily agree that human beings evolved from single-celled organisms. Yeah.
Right, and likewise, not all historians agree that Jesus existed, right? So, and my next question
Yeah.
is, do these people that you are claiming, are they also going to take the stance, because this is going to be where we're going to jump into cherry picking, are they also going to take
Mhm.
the stance and say that Jesus was divine?
I believe some would believe that he was divine, and some would just believe that he was just a historical figure, a preacher.
But what do you
Maybe it goes
think
both
the
ways.
vast, what do you think the vast majority of their belief is?
Well, it depends on their personal faith,
Hmm.
the
So it's going to
whether
have
they're a
a
Christian or
biased,
not.
yeah, so it's going to
Yeah.
have a biased view on it, right? So when we talk about like the appeal to authority, this is why we don't do appeal to authorities, because that's going to force you to cherry pick the individual's belief. You're not going to understand where they come to the conclusions they do. And when we point to
Mhm.
any other topics relating to religion, when it comes to say biology and other things, physics, stuff like this, you'll just say no because you're then going to appeal to the Bible. So my next question would be then is, can you name can you give me any historical evidence that Jesus did in fact exist?
Well, I would consider the eyewitness accounts and the letters of the
Hmm.
New Testament to be the best evidence that
All right,
Jesus Christ did in
can you
fact
name
exist.
so yeah, so the Bible's the claim. So my question would be is, can you name any of these witnesses? Are the witnesses ever mentioned?
Uh, well, I mean, you have the disciples, you have Paul.
Hmm.
I mean, Josephus, the Jewish historian, also wrote about the person of
That
Jesus. There's
so when we talk about Josephus, Josephus is an
mhm.
interpolation. Do you know what an interpolation is?
No, define it for me.
Yeah, so back in the day when you had to copy manuscripts, you had to copy them by hand. We didn't have a copy machine. So they would copy things by hand. And if you wanted to change something, then you could just add it in. And so there's two passages that we see in Antiquities. One of them is called the Testimonium Flavianum. And in the test, and have you ever read these passages from Josephus? Have you yourself read them?
Here and there, I haven't done a complete reading of them, no.
Okay. So, before we talk about the interpolations first, do you know which church father was the first one to even bring up like the Testimonium Flavianum? Do you know who the first church father was that brought him up? Or that brought that
No,
passage up?
I don't know about the passage at
So it
all.
was Eusebius. Eusebius was the first church father to bring up the testimonium, and he said, "Let us make use of the Jew Josephus." However, the issue with this is there were about 5 or 6 church fathers before Eusebius who quoted Josephus, but not for Jesus. They never quoted Josephus to make a claim for Jesus. They were quoting Josephus mentioning John the Baptist because Josephus talks about John the Baptist, mainly kind of making fun of him, but he mentions John the Baptist. So what this leads us to believe, first of all, is given that none of the earlier church fathers mentioned Jesus's passages in Josephus, and Eusebius does it first. That means you got to take a look at why would Eusebius make this claim? Why would he be the first one to bring him up? So in the interpolation, or sorry, in the Testimonium Flavianum, it's 4 paragraphs, right? The first paragraph isn't relevant, so I'm going to refer to paragraph 2 as paragraph 1. Then we'll have paragraph 2 and paragraph 3. Paragraph 1 is talking about how Pilate had taken money from the temple and was using it to bring water into Jerusalem. And the Jewish people got mad and they started rioting and they started attacking Pilate when he went out in public. And so he tells his soldiers to dress up as civilians but hide daggers in their cloak. And when he goes out, if they start even uh, speaking negatively about him, calling him names and stuff, he's going to give a signal, and then his soldiers are to attack. And so they do. The soldiers attack, and they start unaliving everybody. Just absolutely unaliving everybody, public. And it ends with, I'm getting it brought up on my computer right now. I'd bring it up on screen, but it pops up so small you're not going to be able to read it. But it says, they laid upon them, these are the Jewish people, greater blows, and equally punished those who were tumultuous and those that were not. Nor did they spare them in the least. And since the people were unarmed and were caught by men prepared to do what they were about, there were a great number of them slain by this means, and others of them ran away wounded, and thus was put an end to the sedition. And then we get the actual interpolation that says, now there was about this time, this would be paragraph, it's actually paragraph 3, but for this case it's paragraph 2 for our purposes here. Now there was about this time Jesus, a wise man, if it be lawful to call him a man, for he was a doer of wonderful works, a teacher of such men as received the truth with pleasure. He drew over to him both many of the Jews and many of the Gentiles. He was the Christ. So you notice how we have a narrative change here with Josephus writing about this. And then we get in verse 4, going back to the actual Josephus's words, about the same time also another sad calamity put the Jews into disorder, and certain shameful practices happened about the temple of Isis. So the Pilate undertook, and about the same time another sad calamity, those line up together. The one about Jesus is an interpolation, and we know it's from Eusebius. Eusebius wrote it.
Okay.
You'll run. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah, and you'll read another one. It's also in Antiquities. And this one here, we also know that it was also another interpolation from Eusebius as well. And you'll learn where they're talking about Jesus, who was called Christ, whose name was James. They're talking about the execution of James via stoning. But let's say even if it's not an interpolation, let's say you don't agree it's an interpolation, when we get this, who's this Jesus guy, just a few sentences down, it says, and made Jesus the son of Damnius high priest. So if you accept it's an interpolation, then you know it wasn't in the original writing. However, if we find out that Jesus is the son of Damnius, well, that's not Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was the son of Joseph.
And is this Jesus, son of Damnius, supposed to be the same one that he's referring to as Jesus Christ?
Yeah, so up above, James. So essentially what's going on is this James was executed, and Rome is not happy with it. Because again, in order to do these executions, you had to get permission from higher up. You weren't allowed to just do it without. And so they're replacing the high priest. So the high priest has been fired, and this Jesus, son of Damnius, is becoming the high priest. So an important thing to remember is Christ is not a name, it's a title, right? Christ means anointed one. It's the Greek version, or it's the Greek word for Mashiach. And in Jewish culture, there are two people who are Mashiachs. The kings are anointed, because all that means is anointed one. There are kings are anointed, and the high priest is anointed, right? So when we're talking about, Jesus, son of Damnius, the Christ, they're just referring to the high priest. He's just the high priest, is all it's saying. He's the anointed. And we're talking about like the anointed. That's just the high priest of the time period at the temple.
Okay, so Jesus, of course, we get it from the Greek, but it was a very common Jewish name at the time. So what's the argument that this person is supposedly the same one that they're referring to as Jesus the Christ? Because it could just be another person named Jesus.
Well, so when we're talking about things, so we'll just read the passage again. I wish I could bring it up, it'd be so small. So it says, so he assembled the Sanhedrin of judges and brought before them the brother of Jesus, who was called Christ. And scholars also, with this, scholars wonder if when it says who is called Christ, there's a split on the scholarship. Scholars think that might have been a marginal note with a question mark put next to it, like Jesus. Like, are we talking about Jesus, like the Christ? So the scholar consensus on this is split. Some of them think it might have been a marginal note that got added into the writing. But it says Jesus, who is called Christ, whose name was James, and some others, or some of his companions. And when he had formed the accusations against them as breakers of the law, he delivered them to be stoned. So this is talking about the person that is firing what the high priest had done. Sorry. But as for those who seemed most equitable of the citizens and such were most uneasy at the breach of laws, they disliked what was done. They also sent to the king, who was Agrippa, desiring him to send Ananias that he should act so no more. That's why they're mad. They're mad because Ananias is having James unalived, and they didn't like that. For what he had already done was not to be justified. Nay, some of them went to meet Albinus, and he was upon the journey from Alexandria to inform him that it was not lawful for Ananias to assemble the Sanhedrin without his consent. Whereupon Albius complied with what they had said. They wrote in anger to Ananias and threatened that he would bring him punishment for what he had done, on which King Agrippa took the high priesthood from him. So again, he's being removed from the high priest when he had ruled but 3 months, and made Jesus, the son of Damnius, high priest. So again, we're reading that before the Sanhedrin, they brought before them the brother of Jesus, who was called Christ, whose name was James, right? So the reason why they, in here, when they're talking about Jesus, who was the Christ, it probably just read, if it's not an interpolation, it probably read they brought before Jesus, and then again, the who was called Christ was just a marginal note that got added in later. But again, just a few verses later, or not verses, or sentences later, they make clear who that is, Jesus, the son of Damnius, because in that last sentence, he is the subject. Whereas up above, when they're talking about him being the brother, James being the brother, James is the subject. So they don't need to clarify there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I tried to follow all that.
So what it is up here, James is a subject, so they're just skipping over. They're just
Mhm.
briefly mentioning Jesus when they say the Christ, or say, hey, he's going to be the new high priest, because they don't need to go into detail because he's not the subject. James is. And then down here, when Jesus is the subject, then they're going to give him the proper introduction, the son of Damnius, high priest. So they give him his actual full introduction down there, which fits in with how Josephus writes.
Okay, so are you arguing that the Jesus that Josephus wrote about was not the same as the one in the Bible?
Correct.
Okay. What is your, I mean, of course, I ask your opinion, but on the deaths of like all the apostles or the disciples, the 12 or the 11, what do you think would motivate them to suffer such gruesome deaths if for a falsehood that they knew to be false?
What are your views on the apocryphal books, like the Gospel of Peter, the Infancy Gospel of Thomas? What are your views on these books? They're not canon, just in case you didn't know.
No, yeah. I don't have a big opinion on them. I've done enough research to know that they shouldn't be considered scripture. But see, the thing is, because I used to be in your position, because I was actually raised in a Christian home, and then at 17 I rejected all of it and just wanted nothing to do with it for like 8
I've never
years.
been Christian. Yeah, so real quick. Yeah, so just real quick.
Yeah.
So you've probably heard that Peter was crucified upside down, right?
I know it was a tradition. I don't know if it's a
It
fact
is
that you
a
can prove.
Correct. It is a tradition, and most of the apostles' crucifixions are just that, they're tradition. We have nothing outside of two. We have Judas and James. Judas and James are the only ones that are mentioned in the Bible. Outside of the Bible, they are not mentioned outside of Christian sources. It's only Christian sources that mention them. And in fact, the crucifixion of Peter, with him being upside down, comes from the Gospel of Peter, which is apocryphal. It was rejected, mainly because it has Peter legitimately flying. Peter legit flies in it.
Right.
And so, yeah. So what I would challenge you then is outside of Judas and James, I would need you to find me any source outside of Christian tradition or outside of Christianity that shows that there was any state-ordered executions of these people, or that states that they even existed.
So I feel like it's difficult because I feel like any evidence that there is, you would discount it because of your mystic views. So it's hard to say if I would provide. Of course, I didn't come prepared with that stuff provided today.
Yeah.
But say I came back and I had
Mhm.
something, if it even did exist. Of course, I don't know. But I feel like you would reject it for some reason or another, the
No,
same way you reject the
if
rest, right?
if you can if you can show me evidence, right? Because as far as I'm aware, there is zero Christian evidence, or zero outside of Christianity evidence of the apostles and disciples having existed. There's none. So, like, for example, I grant that Pilate existed. I grant that,
Mm-hmm.
like, the side characters. I grant that John the Baptist existed. I grant that Herod existed, that Caesar existed. Like, the side characters, I grant that they exist because we have other people writing about them, right? Um, but when it comes to, like, the apostles, we have zero writings about them outside of Christian sources. There's not a single one. When it comes to these miracles that Jesus performed, we have zero of them. None. We don't have one. Paul's letters are presented as if they are letters. However, we only have letters from Paul going out. We don't have any records of Paul receiving anything, anybody responding back to Paul. Paul makes a claim that when he was persecuting Christians, that they would do votings. The Sanhedrin would do voting. They would cast votes to see whether or not these Christians, according to the Bible, were going to be executed or not. And it was only the Sanhedrin that makes these claims, or that could do this vote. Only the Sanhedrin can do these votes. And Paul mentions, it might even be in Acts, but it states that Paul cast his vote, which would mean that Paul was on the Sanhedrin. However, the time that Paul lived, we have the writings of members of the Sanhedrin, and nowhere is Paul ever mentioned. Even Hillel and other sages who would have served with Paul in the Sanhedrin or known Paul, none of them mention this Paul guy. They don't mention it. They don't even mention, like, casting these lots. Like, so these stories just don't seem to be true. There's no evidence of it. When it
Can I
comes,
interject one
yeah, go
second?
ahead.
I was just gonna say, so you would need an extra biblical source to confirm that the biblical source is true. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the Bible's the claim, so I would need something to support it.
And what is it about the Bible that you are so eager to disagree or not believe in? Like, why is your rejection of it so? Like, why do you have so much conviction to reject it?
Oh, yeah, so I can tell you my deconstruction story. So I used to be well, I am Jewish. I'm ethnically Jewish. But I used to practice
Mm-hmm.
Orthodox Judaism. And I was doing my Torah study, and I was reading about slavery. And essentially the way slavery works is, hey, you, the Israelite, you, the Jewish person, you can't be slaves because you're my people and I brought you out of Egypt. However, those other people of other nations, you can be they can be slaves. and I wasn't okay with that. I took issue with that. I'm like, wait, this isn't
Mhm.
right. And so I then started reading more, and I just ran into more and more problematic verses, and it was just menorahs all the way down. It was problematic all the way down. And then I actually went back and I reread the Tanakh in its entirety, doing it through an unbiased lens. And I took a piece of paper, well, a few pieces of paper, and I put good, bad, drew a line, and every time God did something good or bad, I would write it in on either side. And then if it was something that was like, is this punishment for something the Israelites themselves did, or were they being punished as a whole for something somebody else did? I would put check marks.
Mhm.
And I just drew the conclusion that this God is not consistent. He doesn't hold to the omni properties. And there was issues with it, so I started deconstructing Judaism. Came that the book is just written by men who wanted to do horrible things, and instead of them taking accountability for it, they wanted to blame it on a god. Um, and so going into the New
Can I ask
Testament,
you?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say, what what is it that compelled you to believe that? Okay, I guess the question, without trying to seem rude, because I'm not, is, who made you the arbiter of right and wrong? Like, what is it about yourself that makes you um qualified to say whether something God does is right or wrong?
Oh yeah, because I think enslavement of any peoples, for whatever reason, is wrong. I think when we order the absolute genocide of entire people groups, I think that is wrong. When we command the unaliving of children and infants, that is wrong. And for my vegans out there, I'm not a vegan, but for the vegans out there, I think when we are just unaliving livestock for no reason, that's an issue. But not only that, but I ran into some scientific errors as well. One of the big scientific errors is when we're talking about kosher law. God states that rabbits, even though they chew their cud, they don't have cloven feet, so they're not kosher. The problem is rabbits don't chew cud, but God says they do. So God got animal biology wrong.
Okay. Again, I asked though, what makes your, I know you're a determinist now, so what makes
Mhm.
your morality able to, I mean, what exalts your morality over the morality of God?
Oh, well, what I'm saying is all of these things, all well, because in order for me to exalt my morality over God, I would have to presuppose or assume that God exists. But all of these little things, and there's more of them. There's contradictions within the Bible. But when we look at all of these, I just draw the conclusion that God just doesn't exist. Thus, I'm not comparing my morality to God's. It's just my morality.
So essentially, you are your own God.
No, no, I'm not my own God.
So so, going back, so would you say that in history, all of the people who worshipped gods, would you say they're just stupid? They're just believing in something because they're weak-minded?
No, I would say that they are ancient peoples who didn't understand physics and the physical world around them, the reality, and so they
Hmm.
they tried to explain it the best way they could through gods. And we have people over here like Hanji. Hanji still believes in the Greek deities, right? Um, but and Hanji, I don't want to overstep here. But when Hanji believes in the Greek deities, it is for cultural reasons. Hanji holds to them for cultural reasons. Hanji doesn't look up at the sky and see a lightning bolt and say, "Oh, there goes Zeus throwing that lightning bolt."
Hmm.
Technically, I do that.
So, if we could
Okay, so
talk about
not only
empathy
is it
for a minute,
cultural, I do
because
practice them.
after we talked yes
I
or
do
two
Well,
days
hold
ago, I
worship
on,
was
them.
thinking about it.
hold on one
Yeah,
moment. Go ahead, Hanji.
yeah.
You're not going to
I
be able
was
to hear
going.
Hanji, but Hanji's saying something.
Okay.
Okay, so I do worship them. I do that. I do look up in the sky, and I'm just like, oh, hey, Zeus. Like but it's just a matter of life for me. But I don't have my gods interfere with my logic or reasoning or critical thinking. But I do worship them. I do give them respect, just not in the way that the Christians do with the, Abrahamic deity.
That's fair. That's fair. Anyways, but yeah, so that's just my belief is that these primitive cultures were just finding explanations for why the physical world the way around them did. But as we come up with more technological and scientific advances, it seems to push God away, doesn't do anything to affirm there is a God.
Okay, well, I would argue that since science is always changing and correcting itself, it seems like um what is the evidence that the way you believe now is correct? Or do you think it is? Or are you kind of are you agnostic? Are you an
Well,
agnostic determinist or
so the way science works is science is always out to prove itself wrong, right? So science is
Mhm.
always going to update because it's always trying to prove itself wrong, right? Because we're trying to find bigger, better ways to do things. So if we take like gravity according to Newton, yeah, that works on Earth, absolutely. However, once we got into space and they started like trying to apply Newtonian gravity theory up in space, it falls apart. Why? Because there's other elements outside of space, i.e., not Earth's atmosphere, and other things out there, right? So now we have to come up with another theory for why things work, and then we get relativity, right? And so because
Mhm.
the idea of science is always seeking to prove itself wrong with better ideas, we would expect science to constantly be updating itself. So it's not that like scientists lied, it's just that we got better technology and we were able to figure things out. We had a better understanding of how the physical world works around us.
Okay. Now you believe that empathy is transcendental, and I had a question about that because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how would you define transcendent? Like, because I don't think we agree on the definition of that.
Yeah, transcendental would mean is like it's inherent. It's just a natural part. It is necessary.
Okay. So, since, see, my understanding of transcendental or transcendent would be something that exists beyond um, complete understanding or complete, it's something that is sort of beyond the limit of uh, total comprehension.
Oh,
And my
you don't want to
question
go to that. You're
was,
going to put yourself into that.
since empathy is inherently a human experience, and
It's
if
not.
humans then
Animals
okay, what
experience
where
empathy
is
as well.
and how prove this to me.
Yeah, so when we look at like animals, there's animals that build symbiotic relationships. They go support each other. We have proof of animals that will look over and they'll see weaker animals than themselves being attacked by predators, and they will run over and help that other animal. We see cases where if you ever look up and you see geese flying, why do flock
Mm.
birds, especially like geese, ducks, and other stuff, why do they fly in V's?
My argument is because that's how God created them. But
Yeah, so they
go
fly
ahead.
in V's because they swap out with each other. When the one in front who's breaking wind and it's doing the thing, when they start to get tired, they rotate out, right? It helps them fly longer, right? Um, and what we see now is because you and I are talking, like we mentioned before, is that empathy is transcendental because the fact that we're even having this rational dialectic that I'm trying to look at things from your perspective, you try to look at things from my perspective, shows that we are having being rational. And anytime we have a dialectic, any dialectic, is inherently argumentative, right? Anytime we have a dialectic, it's argumentative, and I don't mean argumentative in the sense that you and I are like mad at each other and yelling, but it just means that we're going to be talking about our point of views, and I'm going to always be trying to convince you of my point of view, whether I know it or don't, and you're going to be convincing me of yours. And in order to have a rational dialectic, I have to look and try to understand your argument, and you have to try to do mine. And so when we take a look and we do this, and when we're talking specifically about morality, if we are talking about morality, not only are you and I talking, but let's say we're going to go talk about unaliving the Amalekites. I then also have to look at it. Well, you and I both should be looking at it. Well, we're going to go unalive the Amalekites, and we should, if we're rational, we should look at it, put ourselves in their shoes, and be like, oh, I'm in their shoes. I don't want to be unalived for something I'm not even aware of, and thus we wouldn't do it, right? So that's why it's transcendental.
Well, as far as the Amalekites go, I mean, these are people that sawed their children in half and burned them in jars to their
The
false
Amalekites
god.
didn't do that. That's the Canaanites. We have no historical evidence of the Amalekites having ever done that.
Historical or biblical?
Neither. The Bible doesn't say anything about the Amalekites doing that. You're thinking of the Canaanites
Okay,
and other
I
peoples.
stand
Yep.
corrected then on that. What?
Yeah, quite literally, the only reason why God says go unalive the Amalekites is because 400 years prior, when the Israelites were coming out of Egypt, the Amalekites attacked them, and God had told Moses, I'm going to get them back. And then 400 years later, when Saul becomes king, God decides, I'm going to cash in on that promise I told Moses, and then they go attack him.
So if okay, just sort of changing the
Well,
subject here, but if
we've kind of pivoted away from the topic. So let's get
yeah,
back to the topic, though, right? Let's get back to the topic.
yeah, sure,
So
of course.
that's why I deconstructed, right? So that's why I deconstructed. But you wanted the historical approach. So I just need you to provide any historical evidence that Jesus existed. If you want to move on from that, if you say, hey, I don't have any, I'm cool with that. We'll move away and we can talk about prophecies that he fulfilled.
Well, see, the problem is that there are. See, you talk about appealing to authority. You appeal
Mm-hmm.
to your mystics, and I appeal to the other scholars. So really, it's a choice
What
of what you
mystics am
believe.
I?
You listed
Well,
20 of them,
well, well, yeah, but what I'm
right?
saying is that well, I did, but what I'm saying though is that any historical document that you bring up, that the historians take a look at, you'll find that it's going to side with me. I'm able to provide why these aren't actually talking, and what you'll find too is a lot of this historians, especially if they're working in academia, most of them that are teaching in academia, they're going to be teaching like New Testament studies or something, which means that they are receiving they need students, right? So we have a book. I'm trying to remember the name of the book, but it's by Dr. Nina Livesey. Dr. Nina Livesey teaches at the University of Oklahoma, and her life's work has been proving that Paul never existed. And real quick, everybody, oh, I think she might have left. Yeah, it looks like she left. I was gonna say go give somebody a follow, but I don't think she's in here anymore. But anyways, Dr. Nina Livesey is at the end of her career, and she finally released a book talking about how Paul never existed and the reason why they didn't exist, the issues with the letters of Paul, right? And a lot of these historians, a lot of these theologians, when you actually get them in private, and you ask them if they actually believe the historical Jesus existed, they're gonna be like, no, I don't even believe that. There's no evidence. However, it's just much easier to just say, yeah, he existed, because they just don't want to go down that argument trail, because it does risk credibility issues with them as far as their jobs.
I would say that you are full of confirmation bias, which is okay. All of us do it. But why choose to believe the people
Well,
that agree with you as
that's poisoning the well. That's
not
poisoning
really.
the
We all have
well.
confirmation bias. I have it, you have it. It's just something that human beings do. But
Well, let
why
me
the,
let
my
me give you
choice
some
my okay, go ahead.
oh, yeah, let me give you some evidence here. Do you believe that the Christians were persecuted?
I do.
All right. So, do you know where that comes from?
Well,
Let,
I
let,
I
like,
believe
let,
in
let, let
that
me rephrase. Well, let me rephrase.
okay.
Do you know why, according to Christian tradition, do you know why the Romans started to persecute the Christians? Do you know why?
Because my guess would be because they feared a uprising by the Christians.
There was a particular event that happened in Rome.
I couldn't name it, no.
Okay, yeah. So in 65 there was a fire in Rome. And um it could have been Nero, but Nero being the emperor didn't want to take the blame. So Nero like blamed the Christians, right? That's the Christian tradition. Nero blamed the Christians for the fire in Rome, and that's what started the persecution. However, the issue with this is um, we have no like evidence of actual Christian persecution. Now, I will say, to put a little cravat on this, about 3 to 6 years before Constantine was the emperor, and ending with Constantine as the emperor, Christians were persecuted. Absolutely. There was a law, unalive Christians, arrest them and they'll be unalived. But that was only 3 to 6 years before Constantine. Before that, we have no evidence of actual Christian persecution outside of Christian tradition. And in fact, in 111, we have Pliny the Younger, who is in modern day Turkey in Asia Minor, and he used to be a lawyer. He was a senator. He lived during the fires in Rome. And at this time, he's serving as governor. It's at the end of his career. He has served under a few emperors. And he runs into a group of Christians in Asia Minor, in Turkey. And he has no idea who they are. Like, no idea. He's writing to Trajan to figure out what to do about these Christians because he doesn't know who they are. And he's like, I have never dealt with them. I don't know what they do. He then goes on to explain what they do. Like, they say they're Christians. Here's what they do. And then Trajan, who's the emperor, when he responds back to him, he says, hey, don't hunt them down. Leave them alone unless evidence gets brought to you that they're committing actual crimes. Now, the type of crimes that we have, and again, we get these from Pliny's letter. Pliny had to break up a volunteer fire department. While they were fighting a fire, he breaks them up and tortures them because that's what the law said. Because in Rome, the law stated that you could not meet without a permit. You couldn't meet in a sizable group without a permit. Roman law also stated that you were free to worship whatever deities you wanted. They did not care. However, you also had to worship the Roman deities. And if there are so it's not that early Christians were like persecuted. There was no law out against the Christians. It was a case that there were people that were both Jewish, Greek, and any of the other nations that Rome conquered that just didn't want to bow to the Roman gods, and so they were punished for it. But that's not persecution, that's just breaking the law.
What are your views on modern persecution of Christians today?
There is no
Like in
modern
other
persecution
countries?
of
That's false.
oh,
That's just
like
entirely false.
in other countries.
Yeah, in other countries where they're being beheaded and stuff like that. What are your views on
Well,
that?
it's not only Christians that are being beheaded. See, and this is what we're talking about, where like you're trying to pinpoint it to being just Christians. It's not just Christians. In some of these countries, do you know what happens if you're Jewish? Do you know what would happen if you are, say, Hanji and you practice the Greek religion, you have to practice their religion because that's what the law says. So it's not Christian persecution. It is if you are other than this religion, you will be punished under the law. So I think it's wrong. I think making a state religion is horrible, and this is the reason why. But it's not Christian persecution.
Okay, I never argued that it was not other religions. I was just curious about your views on it. So if well, I don't know if I can just tell me if this question goes off topic. It's about because
Oh, I think we're
I'm
still
really
off
interested.
topic. But go ahead.
Well, if I can, would so if irrationality is the, I guess, mirror of what I would call evil. So you have empathy and you have irrationality.
Hmm.
And irrationality is the choice to be pathetic. Am I
Hmm.
okay so far? Okay.
Yeah.
Um, would you say that being irrational is always a choice, or that some people are irrational by nature, therefore being a slave to their irrationality?
I think it's going to depend on their upbringing. I think that there are people because again I don't believe in free will. So I believe that it is the case that if you were like raised up in an extremely religious household, and stuff like that, if you're raised up in a political household, and your surroundings, they are going to have you do grow up a certain way. Your brain chemistry is going to be altered, and so you're not going to know how to employ empathy. You won't know how to do it. Thus, your actions will just be unempathetic. They'll be irrational. However, I do believe that once they change their environment and they're put into a position where they do see and they are able to learn how empathy works, um, then I think we can alter that and have better outcomes if that makes sense.
So should the people that are slaves to their irrationality be punished for doing irrational things, crimes?
Yeah, so the way that we change brain chemistry is like so for example, um if somebody steals, right? I think that again empathy goes into judgment as well. So let's say somebody steals a candy bar, right? And as they are sitting in the courtroom and it comes out that they knew no better, they had no idea, literally no idea. And this is actually what the term insanity means, like in court. Whenever somebody's pleading insanity, it means that they were not in the right state of mind or they had the knowledge of what they were doing. Um, and so then the judge would employ empathy and take a look and put themselves in the shoes of that person. And they would say, hey, if I was in this person's shoes, knowing what they know, blah, 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 how would this punishment better serve? And so the judge would employ empathy, and I would hope that the judge would employ a judgment accordingly. However, I do think that going through that court process, helping this person realize that that shoplifting was wrong, that they ought not have done it. And then later on, when it comes time for them to think about shoplifting, because of this whole going through the judicial system, has altered their brain chemistry. Thus meaning that they're probably going to be more determined to not do that in the future. And anybody who sees this going on, will likewise go, oh, that's disgusting. We have a good case of this. I live in Idaho, and those of you who are watching, we have a few people here on TikTok. We've got about 69. Let's go 69 on YouTube. But we have people just about 20 minutes from where I live. We have a guy who is claiming to lead this Mormon cult, right? Not actual mainstream Mormonism, but it was a Mormon cult. And he has led people astray. And this ended in him and his wife. They unalived not only his wife and not her and her brother, but they unalived her kids, right? And she is 100% brainwashed and accepting this cult, thinking that they did nothing wrong. And for those who want to know what I'm talking about, look up Lori Vallow Daybell. Look up that case, give it a study. It is something that goes on not too far from where I live. Um, and so yeah, I think when we put people through these cases, we can hopefully change how they think, change their determined, and make them more determined to be more fit to live in society.
Okay, what about people that know what they should do and yet they do what they don't want to do? And it's not,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is at the end of the day a choice, but there's something that is pulling them toward that irrationality. What are your thoughts on that?
Well. So the question is then: is it the determinism that is pulling them away from it, or are they making the choice? Because like if we take like the Schnazis for example, the Schnazis absolutely did not participate in rational dialogue. They didn't give two shits what happened to any of the people they put in the camps. The Nazis didn't care at all. They did not employ empathy in the slightest. And so they were irrational and they were wrong. When you're irrational, you are wrong.
Okay. Why well, to empathize with, I believe that to empathize with something or a person or anyone, you have to have some sort of value. Like you must value it the same as you value
Mm-hmm.
yourself. What gives human beings inherent value?
Oh, because when I employ empathy, when I put myself in their shoes, I view myself as having value and I'm now standing in their shoes. So since I have value and I want to continue living or continue doing the good that I'm doing, I would then put value on their life. And if I don't, then I'm not employing empathy. Thus, I'm not being rational. I'm going to irrationality, and thus I'm wrong.
So you have no inherent value unless you choose to value yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Huh?
You're
Uh,
saying that you don't have like a an objective value unless you see yourself as having value. So it's almost like a
well,
subjective thing.
everybody's gonna view themselves as having value, right? Everybody views themselves as having value.
I would argue that. I would say not everyone does. There are people
Yeah,
that feel
give me the
worthless.
argument for that. Hmm.
I mean, the people that unalive themselves or the people that feel worthless, that, they have no real sense of purpose or meaning to their life. They don't have any sort of value on their own. I would
They
say there are
do,
people
they
like
do.
that.
That's why when they go into that mindset, they view that their value is that the world would be better off without them, and thus they are putting a value on their life. Absolutely.
I would say it's a negative value then, a lack of value.
No, they have a value, and they view that what they're doing is a hindrance, right? So they do place value on it. It's just not what you would think is a positive value. It might be a negative value, but there's still a value there. Um, but they just view that they are. But that's why they. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I was trying to fix this puzzle piece, and I was down to my last 10 seconds before the live was going to end. So yeah,
Oh,
they
you're
they
good.
do it, but that's why they ultimately make the decision to do that, right? Is because they view that
Okay.
their value is a hindrance, but they do place a value on it.
Okay, so in your worldview, does existence have what's the purpose? So if you believe in a universe that is, or a world that has always existed, that's cyclic, that sort of has these
Hmm.
explosions and implosions, what's the point? Is there a purpose or a meaning to life according to your worldview?
Not an inherent meaning, no. The meaning is whatever we want it to be.
And why why do you choose to believe that? What makes that better than, say, being created by a being that loves you and wants you to experience their creation?
Because of Occam's razor.
Occam's razor, meaning that the simplest explanation is
Hmm.
what you should go with.
Yep, simplest explanation is what I should go with. So everything in my worldview can be explained through a naturalistic point of view. However, your point of view with there being a god doesn't actually fix or solve anything. It just kicks the can down the road. But now you have to explain God. Now we have to have these moral debates. Now we have to add on. Whereas in my debate, I look at the world, everything that we see is everything that we would expect in a naturalistic world. When we look at the cyclic universe, when we look at the Big Bang, when we look at the fact that the sun gives us cancer, when we look at that there's earthquakes and stuff, all of this can be viewed from a naturalistic point of view. But from your point of view, you can't explain how an all knowing, all good, and all powerful God can allow inherit more atrocities like earthquakes, hurricanes, right? We get the problem of evil not even from like human error but from natural disasters. You can't explain that. So thus you just have to vat yourself. So you're going to answer something like his ways are higher and you're going to put yourself in a vat. Or you then also have to add the explanation for God, and you can't explain God. You just kick that can down the road.
Well, I would argue that there is a reason, according to Christianity, that the world is messed up. I think it goes back to the garden. I think God did create human beings perfect, and it was the humans beings' choice to,
Yeah, so why does the sun give us
um,
cancer?
because we live in a cursed and fallen world, because of the
Because
human
of the.
decision to disobey God.
So, how do dinosaurs have cancer? Dinosaurs existed before humans.
Well, according to your worldview, I believe everything was created according to the biblical account.
Yeah, can you show me
So,
anywhere in the fossil record where dinosaurs and humans coexisted?
so I believe in the Great Flood. So I believe that the world is probably less than 10,000 years old, and I believe it
Mm-hmm.
was the worldwide flood um, that is the cause of the way the Earth is now. So I don't
Yeah, that's not the
believe that.
question. The question is why are there no human fossils with dinosaur fossils? Go ahead and explain that.
Well, I can't. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah, but you just would need to explain it then because we have billions of years, or sorry, millions of years, sorry, not billions, millions of years in which there are no humans and dinosaur fossils found together at all. Like, at all. In fact, the only place that we find them, again, would be under the naturalistic worldview, which is near fault lines, near riverbeds. These are where we do them because of erosion and stuff. But under your worldview, you cannot explain why we don't see that. Even if we use the Great Flood, we would still expect to see humans and dinosaurs in the same fossil record, and we don't.
Okay, I will concede to you on this because I'm not scientifically educated. I would ask one thing. If is there any part of you that I'm assuming you're a truth seeker, that you care about
Mm-hmm.
understanding and truth. Is there any part of you that thinks that maybe there's a possibility you could be wrong about God?
No, because it still doesn't fix the problem of evil, and I have there is nothing in me that makes me believe that God exists. Now you could probably give me an argument for a deistic God. A really
Mm.
good argument would be a deistic God. Are you familiar with deism?
Not as much as theism, no.
All right, so deism is the belief that there's a creator and he's just a creator, right? And he creates a universe and then he doesn't care about it. He creates it and moves on. Um I think a deistic god would be the strongest argument for a god, but then we would just have to explain I could give you an argument for why time could not have been created. So that argument would fall apart as well.
I just ask because I asked because, like in Hebrews 11:6, it says, "Anyone who comes to God first must believe that He exists, and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him." And that's just
Hmm.
been my personal experience. It wasn't until I was willing to sacrifice everything that I thought I knew, and let it go and fully commit to searching truth. And Christianity is where I landed. So I was just curious if there's any part of you that thinks maybe you could be wrong. And
No, not with the Abrahamic God, not even a little bit. And in fact, I don't know. He's in chat right now. Give Christ before Jesus a call, or not a call. Yeah, give him a call. Jaron, be next to your phone. You're getting a phone call from a man named Andrew. Um, what I would do is pick up his book, Christ Before Jesus. And if you want if you want to actually hold a debate about whether or not um, Jesus existed or not, um, Jaron wrote this book. He and his co-author, not me. I'm not Matt. He and his co-author wrote this book, and look at that. We're getting a go through there. But follow the book. Go when CBJ goes live. Give him a follow. And go talk to him about it. Go hop on his live. Talk to him about it. Um, but yeah, I just have no reason to believe in a god. If I did, it'd probably be a deistic god. But again, this deistic god could not have created time or space. If he didn't create time or space, again, a natural world would just come into existence. So I just have no reason to believe in him. I think it's silly. I think it's irrational.
where do you think the sort of the hole in the human soul comes from
There is no human
that wants
soul.
to ask? Okay, the human experience, then the human mind. Where do you think that comes from, that desire to know and understand either God or replace God with whatever you want to? Truth. Where do you think that
Oh,
comes from?
where truth comes from?
No, the desire to understand and know it, to discover it.
Oh, it's just because we're curious creatures, so we want to learn. And I don't think it's like true. I think truth is like a misnomer. We just want to know about the world around us. We just want to know how things work. Um, and I think that because of religion, we've been conditioned to have this idea of where did we come from. But I think that's just because of religion.
So, where does your conviction against God come from? Is it from empathy? Do you feel sorry for people that believe it and you want to enlighten them? Is that where it comes from?
No, I think this motherfucker right here, because if you believe Jesus is God, he's literally a motherfucker. I believe that this religion, as well as Islam, has a net negative when it comes to the world and a net positive. I think that because of these two religions, we had the spread of the slave trade throughout the Western world. I think because of these two cultures, we have had the absolute erasure and colonization of complete cultures. I think because of this religion that was spread by the sword, I think had it not been for the Roman Empire and the might they had, and the Byzantine Empire, when Christianity became the official religion, I think the religion would have died out a long time ago. But because it was spread by the sword, I think that Christians have this holier than now, Mike mates right mindset, and I think it's just disgusting. And I believe in true things. I think we ought believe in true things. And I think people ought be able to use logic and deduce and come to an understanding that logically Christianity is false, that there's no evidence of it. The evidence points contrary to it. There's no need for a God. We don't need a God. Those people who have overcome things like drug addiction and other things, I think it's better that they come to an understanding that you can do that all by yourself. You don't need God to do that. You can overcome these addictions on your own. Um, and I think that there's power in knowing the
That's
truth.
funny. Well, that's what Jesus said. He said, "You'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free." So at least you agree with him on that. But it's funny you say that, because the entire premise of Christianity is that you do need God, and that we are all in need of Him. So it makes sense that you wouldn't go for it if you think that we don't. Um, as far you said something, and I was gonna reply, but now I forgot because I guess I've done too many D-rugs and I can't
Oh.
remember anything. But but yeah, I don't see us agreeing, but I appreciate the debate. I'm gonna hop off of here and play some COD with my
All right,
homeboy,
sounds good.
but maybe I'll hop
All
back
right.
on sometime.
So let's give Andrew some W's. I know he didn't want to stay on topic. I know he had a hard time staying on topic. I just don't think he knew where he was going to go with that. He brought up Josephus. He got cooked on Josephus. We talked about Pliny a little bit, and yeah, I think he just wanted to come up to do some preaching, but it gives, man, my hair is non-existent, but it gives me an opportunity to explain why I believe what I believe and why we ought not believe in God. And I don't think he had any good arguments. I think he kind of made more atheists here. And AJJ over on YouTube, click the link. Let's talk about it. And how you doing, Hanji?
I'm good. I am hot. I just got home. I was running to grab pizza for the kiddo.
Oh, like were you actually like running?
Fuck no, but that damn sure felt like it.
Just imagining Hanji leaving a note, went to get milk.
At least I come back.
So Jaren, are you going? Did Jaren disappear? I think Jaren disappeared out of the live. So I've got about another 45 minutes. So if you want to debate, hop on up. Let's talk about it. If you are on YouTube right now, there's 72 people on YouTube. Go ahead and give me a subscription. When I checked this morning, I only needed like 40 more subscribers to hit my 1,000. And then I only need 99 more thousand to get that YouTube plaque. So let's go.
Believe in you.
I believe me too. I was surprised. I thought Justin would have had his plaque by now, but Justin's only like at 50,000, so he's almost there. Yes, drive by CBJ. Oh, there he is.
I think it also depends. I think it also depends too, like the type of like YouTubing that you do. I haven't seen anyone with a plaque dedicated to deconstruction on YouTube yet.
Oh yeah. Knight and I have absolute plans for this. So Knight and I are going to start doing and I'm joking when I say this, but Knight and I are going to start grifting off of the Christians. Sunday nights we're going to start hosting cyber reconstruction, and Knight's going to need to come up with a nifty name, and we're going to go grift off the wallets of Christians. We're going to hold church with bad Bible reads. Man, not Jaren not coming up in the live. See, Jaren doesn't want to debate. Jaren doesn't want to debate. Jaren never wants to debate me. Jaren knows he's going to get cooked on the existence of Jesus. Yes, Christians over on YouTube, you do need to subscribe to save my soul. If you don't subscribe, my soul will forever be damned to yes, I will write the CBS version of the Bible. It's going to be like one page of like, it'll have like Genesis and then just a blank page, and then Exodus, blank page, Leviticus, blank page. These are the things that are true. These are the words of God. Oh, I'm trying to remember. I think there was somebody that wrote a book that was kind of like that, and it was literally just like 300 pages that were blank. Marilyn, I don't know if Crystal is if Crystal is watching my live, if she is on YouTube or TikTok. But Marilyn, why are you talking crap about Crystal?
Crystal is nice compared to me. I'm gonna see you next
Crystal
Tuesday.
is nice. Gotta get that. I had somebody pop up. Well, Marilyn, first of all, if you would understand what Arianism is, as it's Alexis. And you would pronounce the name, or you would spell the name right instead of spelling it Aryan, and you'd spell it right. And you'd understand that Arian Christianity is not the belief that we are all gods. Arianism, Arian literally taught that Christ was not God. That was the whole thing. Christ was not God. And that's why, according to tradition, he got the absolute matzah, the absolute sonic coins slapped out of him. So you're teaching that like we're all God is not Arian Christianity. That is like anti teachings of what Arian taught. How you doing, Alexis?
Hey, I'm actually doing pretty good. I just moved all of my stuff, like literally all of it. Like my bed is now in my living room. How are you?
I'm good. Just want to give you a heads up. You are live on YouTube as well. So you'll be on
Hello,
YouTube.
YouTube.
You'll be on YouTube forever. Your great grandbabies are going to be able to come look at this and go, look, there's
Hey,
grandma.
there's videos of me singing from a New Year's Eve party when I was 11, and we were competing to be the worst singer. Okay, I cannot log into that account and take it down. I don't think this is too bad, to be honest.
What's the name of that account? So I don't look it up.
Fuck off.
I want to know to stay away from it. Man, we are not getting anybody wanting to come up.
People have finally realized that you're too smart for them to debate against.
Well, I did get threatened today by a Muslim earlier.
Oh.
Apparently, when you corner them with the Quran, they get scared. But real quick, I am going to do a quick restart. I only have like another half hour. Yeah, no, not the Orthodox guy. The Orthodox guy. Okay, so here's the thing. So he assumes that all atheists are utilitarian, and so being a utilitarian, they always take the approach of, I'm going to give you two scenarios and you must be within these two scenarios. But that's a fallacy, because there's a third scenario. There's a fourth scenario, right? So for those who weren't watching, the scenario he tried to give is, if I was to go back in time to baby Schittler, baby Averbraun's husband, what would I do? And I said, well, if I employed empathy, I would remove him from the situation. Maybe I would have paid his parents to give him decent art lessons. Maybe I would have done other things that would have, again, changed his deterministic mindset to want to unalive 6 million Jews and do the other things that he did, the other people that he harmed, and remove him from that situation altogether. And he's like, no, you have to stick in the hypothetical. I'm like, yeah, your hypothetical is a fallacy, because I could remove him from the situation, like. And so yeah, like it's just not. And so he got mad about that. No, but it was another guy that came up here, when I pointed out that Bukhari, which is a hadith that he accepts, states that Aisha was 6 when married, 9 when it was consummated. And then Alexis, I have a question for you. If a guy comes to you and mentions anything about wanting to consummate with you and you remain silent, does that mean you're actually saying yes?
No, that usually means I'm really uncomfortable and don't know how to get away.
Right. And I agree. Chat agreed. But Bukhari, again, the same hadith that he believes in, because it's the same one that mentions Aisha's age, states that, oh, she's just shy, and so the silence equals consent.
Yeah, I've read that before, and see, in real life I'm pretty shy. On here, like, you've heard me talk a lot of shit and yell quite a bit. I'm like, I can be feisty, but in real life I'm usually pretty shy. But when I've been in those situations, I will still be actively speaking. I will not just stay quiet because I am in this situation with somebody that I feel comfortable with. If I'm not comfortable with them, then I am not going to want to be in that situation with them, which is when I will start being more shy because I am uncomfortable. I stop speaking when I'm uncomfortable. So do most people. If you don't feel comfortable, you're going to stay quiet.
Absolutely. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and drop you and Hanji down real quick. I am going to go take a break. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick, and then I'll do a quick restart. So while I am going to go use that restroom real quick, we're going to get this playing.
Plug in, log on, let's break it down. Truth ain't scared to be found. Dogma shakes when questions rise. No more fear, no more lies. Cyber deconstruction, let's get real. Faith when challenge starts to peel. If it's built on solid ground, why is it scared to stick around? Sacred text, twisted views. Time to separate lies from truth. Not here to burn, but here to see what survives when the mind breaks free. Deconstruct, analyze, open hearts, open eyes. If it falls, let it be. What remains is meant to be. Cyber deconstruction, let's get real. Faith when challenge starts to peel. If it's built on solid ground, why is it scared to stick around? Not for hate, but for the wise. Truth won't shatter, only lies. Time to start the conversation. Now ain't the time to pretend nothing happened.
All right, YouTube. Marilyn, are you a flat earther too? You're goofy. You're fucking goofy. I'm gonna go ahead and get YouTube started back up. And Marilyn, I did unblock you if you saw that, so you are unblocked. Welcome back. Sissy712 was first, followed by a Hanji. Then let's see. What do we want to? You know what? We'll set Tiny Dinies for the goal. Tiny Dinies will be set for this goal. Get Hanji brought back up. Welcome back, Sweet Pea. Everybody, both on YouTube and TikTok, let's give Sweet Pea some massive W's. Sweet Pea puts in so much work behind the scenes. Hey, Alan, how are you doing? Welcome back, Hanji.
Hello. Also, I noticed when you physically drop me, the multi-guest option pops up, which is weird.
Do they pop up?
Yeah, can we test that theory out? Drop me and let me see if it shows.
All right. Fun fact, she's dropped for the show. I'm kidding. See if this works. Hanji has joined. So, Crystal, now that you're in here, Marilyn is over on YouTube talking crap about you. Just a heads up. Just letting you know. Just, Crystal, you're my friend. I'm just giving you a heads up.
I guess that was a lucky glitch.
Huh. Interesting. Gonna bring Crystal up. Hello,
Hey,
Crystal.
Oh, hey, Hanji.
Hey, Crystal.
Hey, listen, just so you know, you really should block her from your channel because she is an anti-Semite. And that's why she doesn't like me, because I do let people know. I'll send you the proof if you'd like. She was blocked from Justin's channel. Then she did a super chat. He brought her back because he thought she was genuinely apologizing. And then she did some more things, and it was causing actual issues in the community. People were leaving the community because she's an anti-Semite. Well, why would they stay in the community if we're allowing an anti-Semite in the community? And then we had a little meeting about it, you know, some of us mods, and somehow somebody told her that she was having that we were having a meeting to talk about the situation, and she made a comment and said, I don't know, like something to the fact, like, I don't know what they think they're gonna do about it when Justin is in my DMs. And
Oh,
I sent
yeah,
that to
that's
Justin, and he was like, block her immediately. I am not in her DMs. I'm not, you know, playing, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah. And Marilyn, thing you need to remember is Crystal Justin, Joyful, they're good friends of mine. Like, they're good friends of mine. I have absolutely no reason to doubt what they're saying. No reason. Oh, we got Marilyn.
seems to
Marilyn
have
is
communicated.
trying to request up. Do you care to talk to Marilyn? She's trying to come up.
Yeah, she can come up. And then we'll end this. We can end this.
Yeah, we can do this. We
I don't know
we
why
can
she
end
wants
it.
to be a part of a community that is not believers. I don't know why she's pushing herself into our community. It's very weird.
Yep, let
Because she's
me
a
see if we can get her up. So when I'm on OBS, my live studio runs slower. Like my guest request box doesn't
Mine
like
too.
working.
It's
I like
such a
double
pain.
and yeah, I'm like clicking it and then it pops up. So let's see if we can get this up. Come on. Here, Marilyn, hop out of the box and then come back up. Because it pops up a little thing that pops up for me. Oh, there we go. Sweet Pea's bringing her up.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I just wanted to clear up the last time I was in Justin's live and I wasn't banned. There was somebody in chat that was joking with me that didn't even really not like me. That was saying, Marilyn's talking about the Jews, or Marilyn's saying something about the Jews, like trying to get me in trouble. And everybody laughed at it. I never said anything anti-Semitic at all. They just know that's why.
Yes, she has. Joel and I have actually sat down to talk to her about it. Why are you lying right now?
I'm talking about the last time I was on live and y'all
Why do
banned
we
me for
care
good, and I
just
did
about
not
the
say
last
anything
time? If
about
you're an
Jews.
anti-Semite, you're an
Because I
anti-Semite.
apologized, and no, I am not an anti-Semitic.
I
stand
have
for everything
posts
else.
from you where you blame things on the Jews.
I was calling a Christian a Jew, and this is where you got mad.
What?
I
She
have
did not
What?
believe that Jesus. She didn't believe that Jesus was the. She didn't believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I was like, you can't be a Christian. You're a Jew. Like, you're not a Christian because you don't
But
believe in the gospel.
you call people a
You called
Jew
me
as
an
a
anti-Semitic for
derogatory
that.
term.
Yeah.
That is anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marilyn, why would you refer to
That was a long time, and I got
No,
banned.
it wasn't. She also calls the Old Testament the Jew book.
Oh my God! I did that one time, and somebody else was talking about
She
it.
thinks that because she says it one time, she's not anti-Semitic.
One
This
time is
the
enough.
solution, right? Thank you,
No.
Hanji.
I forgot what we were talking about to even say
It
something
doesn't
like
fucking
that.
matter. The fact that you're even
Using the
using
word
the
Jew.
Jewish people as a racial term against people who don't think like you is
I
fucking
don't hate
anti-Semitic.
Jews.
The next thing you need to put on is a fucking German uniform from World War II, the way you're
But
talking.
you all sit there and talk about Christians all day and talk crap about them. You can't even say
Because we're talking
anything at
about the
all
religion, you
about
stupid
people.
fuck. We're not talking about the people itself. We're talking about the fucking religion. We're
I
talking
am
about
not
the book.
anti-Semitic. I love all
Yes, you
people.
are. Yes,
I
you
feel like we're
are.
all gods. We are.
womp womp?
What the fuck
And
is this
this,
cunt? Oh,
and I
sorry.
just want you guys to know that people have made it seem like Marilyn and I are having cat fights. And I keep trying to tell people this is not about two women who don't like each other. This is about me standing up for people because she's an anti-Semite. And the fact that people don't take it serious, if she had said the N-word, she would not be here now. If she had said the F slur for the LGBTQ community, nobody would allow her on their channel. But for some reason, because it's against the Jewish people, everybody goes, well, she probably didn't mean it. She means it. She's an anti-Semite.
And I take issue with that because I am Jewish, and it's also the fact too. In the last time you were in chat, you had brought up that you were an Aryan Christian, And I was like, wait, what? Because I heard that and I wanted to be.
This is the bitch.
Yeah, and I wanted to be clear. I wanted to be clear because your theology is that we are all God, right? Do you know what Arian taught? Do you know what his belief system was? Marilyn?
Go ahead and explain it to her because I really don't want to hear her racist ass voice.
Yeah, his belief system was that Jesus was not divine, that he was merely human, right? He was like a prophet. That's what he taught. And St. Nicholas, according to tradition, because if Gray Eyes is here, Gray Eyes is going to be like, allegedly, that's just a story. But St. Nicholas took such offense to this that he got up and slapped him, right? And so I asked you because that's what caught my eyes is you are teaching something that is not of like what Arian Christianity teaches. And so when I asked you to spell it, you spelled it Aryan. That's how you spelled it.
Oh,
And that's what got you blacked. That's what got you blocked the first time is when you had said that, when you spelled it that way.
Cyber, I just sent you something on Discord. Take a look at it and tell me if I'm overreacting.
Yeah,
Can I get it,
we'll
Crystal,
go.
please?
Yeah, I'll send it to you too, Hanji.
Thank you.
And thing you need to remember is that Justin, Crystal, and Joyful, like we're a family. It's not like friends. We're a family. And so and question I have too: were you ever in Justin's DMs? Or sorry, was Justin ever in your DMs?
Really doubtful.
Marilyn, you're
I don't
still
even-
up here. Was Justin ever in your DMs?
Oh,
And
you
let me send you.
fucking Yahtzee sympathizer. You are a piece of shit. Cyber, did you see it?
I'm trying to get my Discord's like giving me a middle finger right now. Let's see if we can.
I
open
want to
it.
stand up for myself when I said Arianism.
what
I
book you
was
fucking
speaking
follow.
about the Neocan god of old fathers, and then the Arianism, which was the foundation of early fundamentalism. I wasn't talking about anything like this whole Nazi and Aryanism and that whole race, that weird stuff. I was talking about.
That's
And
what
it's
you're
not even
preaching.
something that I believe. It's not. It's just that I feel like they were the first ones that was like Jesus. That God is the God of restoration and not retribution, which means He restores things. He doesn't like send you to hell. And if you're a Jew, or if you're a Gentile, you're getting sent somewhere separate. Like we're all His children. We're all important.
Listen
What
to
do
your
you-
Mein Kampf sympathizer.
What? Yeah, what do you think
ahead,
I am
Cyber.
looking? Yeah, what Marilyn? What do you think I am looking at right now in my Discord from you?
What? What does it
What
say?
what do you think it is?
Oh, I'll put it on my screen. I don't
Yeah,
give a
let's
shit.
put
Tried
it
to
on your
on my
screen.
screen.
I have no
couldn't put
idea
it-
because I don't think I did anything wrong.
And this was
Hanji-
sent to me by somebody in the community. I'm gonna leave them anonymous because I don't share that shit. But
It's on my screen. This is an anti-Semite. You Mein Kampf follower. You piece of shit.
It's a
Is-
joke.
Oh,
Fucking joke,
oh.
you stupid fuck.
Oh
Jokes
my
are meant to
God,
be funny.
So
I didn't
so hold on. So you think it's perfectly acceptable to use the Jewish people who just give you an idea. My grandparents were in concentration camps. My grandpa was blind for most of his life because they did pressure testing on him while
It's
in
outrageous.
said camps.
Outrageous.
And you think it's perfectly okay to joke about these things. You think that's okay.
I don't think words are my God. I don't think I don't idolize words.
they hurt people, you stupid, narcissistic, racist, anti-Semitic piece of trash. Okay, they hurt people, and you don't care. All you care about is trying to get with Justin and Mezzo. It's disgusting. And I'm really sick of it. And I hope everybody in the community now knows who you really are and stops coming at me telling me I have a vendetta against you. I don't have a vendetta against you. I have a thing against people who are anti Semites, who are racist, who are bigots. I have a thing against people like you, Marilyn, and I don't want them in my community. I don't want you to poison my community. And I don't know why you want to be in our community. We don't believe in your stupid shit, okay? And we don't want people like you in our community. We don't need you. You're trash.
And this is on
Going after married
YouTube.
men is insane. Mezzo is married, you stupid bitch.
It is. And accusing people like Justin is insane. But that image is on YouTube forever, Marilyn. It's on YouTube forever.
Now, would you all block her and stop allowing her to be in your YouTubes, your TikToks, your whatever? Everybody take a minute and go block her. Go block her on your TikTok. Go block her on your YouTube. Go block her everywhere and stop coming at me telling me, Crystal, why don't you like Marilyn? Oh, Crystal, are you jealous of Marilyn? She actually thinks that the reason I'm not kidding you. She sent me these messages, okay? She thinks that I'm doing this because I want to get with Justin. And I'm like, you idiot. I am happily married. Everybody who knows me knows that I am married to a man named Doug, and we've been married for 30 years this October, and we love each other implicitly. Everybody else also knows Justin is like young enough to be a very young brother of mine, almost a child of mine. Almost everybody in this community is like children to me. They're like my children, and I love them like my kids. That is like, I would never, ever do anything like that. Okay. And everybody else also knows that Mezzo is very happily married and would never, ever, ever consider her. Okay. She has a thing for Mezzo and Justin, not me. And the reason I don't want her in the community is because she is an anti-Semitic piece of trash. And I've been saying it since day one, and everybody just ignored me.
Well, so I blocked her over that thing, but then I had a few messages saying, hey, maybe you just had a misunderstanding. So I was like, okay. And then I've been seeing her for the last all day today, all this morning. And when you rewatch, you could go find this in chat.
She always talks about me because I'm the one who calls her out. And that's okay.
Yep.
Go ahead. Talk shit on me. I don't care. I know who I am, and I know who I am to this community. And I happen to know that I would never do anything like she does. She has just dirt, okay? And I'm sorry. I'm sorry this...
No, Crystal. You are perfectly fine. If it needs to come out, it'll come out. It'll come out eventually. I'd rather have it come out here. And we can I will definitely get a clip of that so we can get that out with the community.
See, now she is hooked with me. Crystal is a saint compared to me. Oh, she's really about to find out.
Thank you, Hanji. I needed a Hanji to be on this right now because, like, you just don't know how many people made jokes about it and made me feel bad about it and made me... You have no idea how long this has been going on and how many people have made me to be the bad guy in this whole situation. And all I've been trying to do is show people that this is not a good person. Joel and I, when she first came out and she said, called Christians Jews, Joel thought maybe she didn't understand what she was doing. So Joel and I sat down and talked with her, and he quickly realized, oh crap, like she really does know what she's doing and saying, and he blocked her. And he told me, I don't have to ever let her back in. I'm not gonna, blah, blah, blah. And but when I would try to tell other people, she would sit there and be like, "No, I never said anything," And I tried. I really tried. And eventually her true colors came out again, and they always will. When people are bigots, their true colors are always going to come out. She's disgusting. And the fact that she thinks telling everybody we're all gods somehow makes that better. Like, for some reason, she thinks that heals everything. I'm not mean. I'm not an anti-Semite. I think we're all gods. What are you talking about? You sat there and blamed everything in the world that is bad on the Jewish people.
Yep.
And you thought that was funny.
Well, and not only that, but like, Crystal, you're a friend of mine. I consider you a friend, and
I consider you my friend too.
And I heard her talking. All right, well, I didn't hear. I saw over on YouTube in comments, and I didn't know if you were in here or if you were over on YouTube, and I saw that, and I'm like, all right, I don't know if Crystal's watching this live or in another one, and so when you came over, so I'm glad you came up. I have her blocked. We'll get that clipped. But now we're here with Q&A with Cyber Deconstruction. So, Crystal.
Are you gonna do icebreakers with me, Cyber?
Yeah, we could do icebreakers. What's a book, movie, or show that you would recommend?
Oh, wow. A book, movie, or show. Right now, I am reading The Bible Unearthed, and it is really good. And so I would recommend that right now. That's just because I'm reading it right now. So there's so many good books. But I guess that's the one I would recommend right now.
All right. When you look back on your life, what is one of the things that you are the most proud of about yourself?
My kids. My children are the most amazing people on earth. My granddaughter, too, of course. But my kids are all very loving people. They are very intelligent. They have a thirst for knowledge. They are socially aware, and they're just amazing. It's my kids.
Okay. What started you initially down the path of deconstruction?
Wow. I have my kind of my deconstruction story. I find that it's evolving every day. Like, the more I deconstruct, the more I learn about how deconstructing happened for me. I'm starting to realize that I probably have been deconstructing this religion since I was a child, because I was already asking the questions. The problem was, due to my indoctrination, I accepted the apologetics a lot, and I would, put everything on the back burner and be like, okay, maybe I'll accept that for right now and just not think about it. But two pivotal things started it more in my adult life, where I was like, you really need to question this. And one was when my father had a quadruple bypass. He had unalived on the table, so to speak. And he was a devout Christian man, very good man, very loving. He was actually my uncle, and he took me in, and I was a daughter to him. He never treated me different, like he treated me like I was his daughter. And when he came to, he said, "Sweetie, I never saw a light. Like, Jesus never came for me. I saw nothing." In his NDE, and he said, and he felt broken. He felt like God forgot him, and that broke my heart. That broke my heart. I thought, what kind of a loving, good, kind, benevolent God would forget my dad? Like, why would he forget him? Like, why did he do that to him? And so that started it. And then my son went off to college, and he came home one day and told me he was an atheist. And um, I started to realize like what he must think of me. He must think that I talk to an imaginary friend. Like like I didn't get mad at him, and I didn't think about him like I'm a narcissist. No, I'm not a narcissist. No, but I did think like oh my god, does my son think that I sit around and talk to this imaginary person? And that got to me. That really made me think like wow. So I think that at that point I really started to reevaluate everything. I had already had issues with the church, the religion as a whole. I was no longer going to a church because, frankly, I thought churches sucked and the people in the churches sucked. So that made me realize, like, why do I think this all sucks? So why are all these things coming up? And then, yeah, so it took a while for me to realize, like, I remember thinking, I'm not going to pray to him anymore because I don't know how anybody else did prayer, but for me, prayer was just a constant conversation with God in my head about anything I was doing in the day. It wasn't me going to my knees and praying like, God, please protect. It was me just talking to him in my head, you know, as a normal conversation, like, you know, God, watch over my children today. Hey, you know, God, I'm shopping right now. Help me find a perfect parking space. You know, yes, the stupid things that Christians think of, I thought those things, you know. But one day I thought, I don't really think I'm talking to anybody. I'm not going to do that anymore. And I just kind of stopped. And then I started thinking, what about my life would change if I stop? Will blessings stop? Will curses happen? And then I realized like nothing changed.
That's fair.
Good things happened when Doug and I worked hard, and bad things happened when I screwed up. You know, like it wasn't controlled by something outside of me. And then eventually it was like I found you guys, and I was like, wait, there's other people that think like me, and that was amazing. When I started finding this community, then it was full steam ahead.
Nice. Coffee or tea?
Coffee, right now, drinking it.
Mine's Monster.
Yes, I know you like your Monster.
If your phone could talk,
Mm-hmm.
what would it say about you? What would it reveal about you?
Oh my gosh. It would reveal that I can't live without it. It would be like, what would you do without me, bitch? it is my computer, it is my dictionary, it is my connection to my family, to my friends. So, and it's old too. It's a Google Pixel 6a, but it's a workhorse, and I love the camera, so I haven't upgraded. And it doesn't have any scratches, dents, or dings on it, so kind of can't find.
Yeah. So not to put you on the spot, but who is your favorite deconstruction? I'm kidding. I'm not gonna ask that.
I have to say joyful.
That is fair. That is fair. Let's see. Growing up, what was your dream job growing up, and did it come to fruition?
I wanted to be an actress, and as many of you now know, I was in a Kevin Sorbo Christian movie, so it kind of came true. So kinda, you know, but actually, as I got older and I realized how much acting is just a part of a business, an actual business, that it's all about money, I was like, oh wow, this is not really probably what I want to do with my life.
Nice. So
It kind
I
of
was
is a Q&A with Mr. J.
nice. So I was also in a movie, not directly, like you're not gonna do a close up and see me or anything, but in Transformers, The Fallen or something. I'm not a big fan of the Transformer movies. But my unit was filmed in that, getting absolutely destroyed in it. And when they were filming it, they didn't tell us what it was for. So we thought it was like, they're like, yeah, it's well, they had us believing it was like for a recruiting video. And so like we're out there and they're like, hey, you guys are gonna run, then you're gonna act like we're gonna yell out something, you're gonna act like you just, got blowed up, and we're like, wait, what? Because I was in the Marine Corps. For those who don't know, I was in the Marine Corps for 9 years. And I'm like, I remember thinking to myself, like, what kind of recruiting movie are we making? Like, are we saying don't join? Because you're showing us getting absolutely destroyed right now. And then we found out later we got to go watch the premiere in LA. And
That's cool.
and they're like, and I was stationed in California at the time. I was at Camp Pendleton. And they're like,
yeah.
by the way, that was for a Transformers movie.
I'm very familiar with Camp Pendleton because I used to live in Murrieta, and we
Okay.
could you could hear them when they would do, what's it called when they're like practicing, and you can hear the it sounds like artillery, and so it'd be very, very loud. And the funny thing is, when you live in Murrieta, if you post on Facebook and say, oh my God, what are those noises? Everybody is going to come at you and say, that's the sound of freedom.
You probably were hearing artillery. It's probably howitzers you were hearing. So probably was
Yeah.
artillery.
It was very
Um,
loud. You hear it very regularly during their practices or whatever it's called that they do. And you're not allowed to ask that question on Facebook. If you've never heard it before, it doesn't matter. Don't ask that question. They're all going to come at you and tell you that's the sound of freedom.
All right. So, quick question. Are you rock hard for Doug Sharon and the rock apostle Rocky?
There is only one Doug that I'm rock hard for. And y'all know what Doug is.
Well, it's okay. We won't tell your husband.
That was a perfect. That was perfect. Oh, you cracked me up. Well, I don't want to take up your show. I know you want to cook some Christians. So I actually came up here to see if I could cook Christians with you today because I thought I have some time. But then, we got a little derailed there for a minute.
No, you're fine. I'm actually gonna hop off. I do have things I have to do here shortly. This live was a restart. I was only going to be live for about 30 minutes anyways, but I think it was fruitful. I am never afraid to call out anti-Semites. If there are anti-Semites, they need to be cooked publicly. So I do appreciate you being willing to come on up. Assassin's Creed follower came up. How you doing, AC?
Good. I was gonna say I love Monster too. I'm literally sitting here drinking one with you.
Well, cheers. So let me tell you, there is nothing more disappointing than when you see the green can and you go to grab it and then you get home and you realize it had the green lid on it and then you just want to throw it away.
Sugar. No.
Yeah, I did that the other day, and I work for Amazon, and so I deliver packages, and that whole night, like, I would take a sip of it and then want to spit it out. I'm like,
Wait,
I can't
what's
spit.
the difference?
It's like sugar-free.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I take a drink, almost spit it out, and I'm like, this is almost like spitting out beer. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
I have to drink the zero sugar because I'm diabetic, but yeah, that's never good. That's never good to grab a zero sugar if you're used to the regular. Oh my gosh, it tastes so awful.
It does. It does. My favorite monster though, I get these ones because they're just as expensive, or they cost the same, but these are bigger. I actually like the ones with the European twist tops on them. Those are the ones that I actually like. Those are my favorite. But Crystal, I appreciate you coming up. One of these times, we'll need to have you up on either like my live, Justin's live, or somebody's live, and we're actually going to need to have a promoted Q&A with Crystal J about Crystal J.
That would be fun. Well, I'm glad I came up, and I'm glad we cleared the air about that. And I can't wait till you post that clip so everybody can see what she had to say. Hanji, as always, thank you so much for backing me up. I love you, and I
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, what I'll probably do is clip it on my computer and then post the raw clipping of it into the Discord server. That way then people are able to add it to their own, so they're like, not just resharing my video, they can clip it themselves. But I do appreciate you coming up and getting the air cleared. Yeah, anti-Semites, here, I'll just say it. I'll just say it. Punch Nazis. If you see a Nazi, punch a Nazi. Like,
Thank you.
It's not that hard. Punch a Nazi.
That's right.
Especially with a dirty plunger.
And don't
Yes.
feel bad afterwards either. Don't feel bad afterwards. Just straight up.
All right.
as
So
hard
so
as
where
you
the
can.
yeah, so where the toilet plunger comes from is I play Indiana Jones. I like Indiana Jones, and you can grab weapons of opportunity, and one of them is a toilet plunger. You can grab a toilet plunger, and I will be in VC in various Discords, and next thing they know, they'll see the camera pop on, and it's me sneaking up on a Nazi with a plunger to absolutely beat the shit out of them with a plunger.
That the new one, the Great Circle or whatever.
Yeah, that one.
It that is coming to PS5. I am super excited for it. I don't have that spec, so I'm super excited.
Yeah, find the plungers and slap Nazis and fascists with plungers in it. It's a great time.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you dunk it in a dirty toilet first before you use it.
So, anyways, I am gonna call it here though. I will be live tonight. Wax Gosling over on YouTube saying you were pretty easy to debunk, man. Hop on up. Let's talk about it. We'll talk about it later on tonight. I'll go be live again around 9 p.m. Mountain. So hop on up. Hop on over to Video Ninja, and we can definitely talk over there. Boobop, I see that you are on Video Ninja. Come back later tonight. We will talk. I do have to go pick somebody up, which is why I do need to get off. But Crystal, Hanji, AC, I appreciate you coming on over. And everybody here, I'm going to go ahead and drop you all down real quick. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I'm going to go ahead and...
Oh no, the void!
Yeah, the void. We're going to go ahead and get the outro playing, and I will see you all later on tonight.
Plug in, log on, let's break it down. Truth ain't scared to be found. Dogma shakes when questions rise. No more fear, no more lies. Cyber deconstruction, let's get real. Faith when challenge starts to peel. If it's built on solid ground, why is it scared to stick around? Sacred text, twisted view.